mean, but obviously maybe it doesn't mean anything. There's loads of other good things you can do. Now, of course, it is that time on a Tuesday afternoon when we talk relationships, and David Kavanagh has arrived into me today. Today we're going to talk about the fact that even in long-term solid relationships, it's easy to not give the attention we should, or to let little things slide. And David is going to share today the 4 A's of love and relationships that will give you the secret to a happy life. David, you're very welcome.
Thank you so much.
That sounds very easy now. If there's 4 A's that could fix it for everyone, you better tell us what they are quick, because most people don't seem to have that much luck in this area.
Absolutely. So the first one is affection, which I'll go into more detail on each very, very shortly. So we have affection, you have attraction, attention, and then we need appreciation from our partners as well.
So affection, attraction, attention and appreciation.
Exactly.
Let's take them one at a time. Affection, what's that all about?
So it often happens that people become well established in their relationships, and at that point they lose sight of the fact that one of them possibly needs affection still in the relationship. So you'll often find that one person has a greater need for affection than the other, and the person who's more needy of the affection can feel, I suppose, that they're missing something. If the hugs, the kisses, the snogs, if the embraces, the pats aren't actually happening.
So these aren't sexual things,
No,
but these are physical affection, like a little bit of a hug or snuggling up to you on the couch kind of thing.
Absolutely, the snuggles, the cuddles, all the things that people used to enjoy probably at the very start of the relationship. Now, affection is really important for the human brain because it releases oxytocin, and oxytocin is what we call the cuddle chemical. So if you have lots of oxytocin in your relationship, it creates a warm and fuzzy feeling about your partner. So love, remember, is a combination of chemicals, and oxytocin is one of the essential chemicals for people to feel like they're loved by somebody. It also promotes trust, and it's a pair bonding chemical. That's what it's called.
Okay, so hand on the arm, hand on the knee,
Exactly.
bit of a cuddle, all that kind of stuff. So people need that on an ongoing basis.
We do. Human beings in relationships need to feel that there's affection available to them from their partner should they want or need it.
Okay, the next A is attraction.
Attraction.
That's kind of different to affection?
Yes, so attraction is the desire that you feel for somebody, that from a physical basis, and I suppose on an emotional and psychological basis too. So when you meet somebody first, the reason you get with them, so to speak, is because you're attracted to them, as opposed to all the other people that you've met you weren't attracted to. But attraction can wane over time. So again, the lust, if the feeling of lust that you have for somebody, it only lasts about 2 to 3 years. Then it's, technically speaking, it fades away. But that's not to say that you're not attracted to somebody. You can still be attracted to them but not want to rip their clothes off every time you see them, like you would have in the initial stages of the relationship. That heady kind of romantic period doesn't last forever. Otherwise none of us would get any work done, because we'll all be going around in lust all the time.
What happens, David, if over the course of your relationship, you mentioned it goes after 2 3 years, but supposing you could be with somebody for 10 years or whatever, and maybe back in the early days they were hugely attractive to you, you couldn't keep, as you say, keep your, but now they've gone bald, or they've put on weight, or they've changed their hair colour, or whatever they've done to themselves, they've lost weight, they've done whatever they've done, and you don't find them as attractive. Can you kindle attractiveness, or is it more esoteric than that?
I'm not 100% sure. I think the research would tell us that some people can, some people can't. So sometimes people come to me for therapy and they're looking for they don't find their partner attractive, and they're looking for sex therapy, and they're hoping that by coming to therapy that's going to magically make them find their partner attractive. That's not necessarily the case, because people change body shapes, we get older.
And we just age.
We just age, yeah. We get wrinkles, we get whatever happens.
But some people will still fancy their partners, even
Absolutely.
though so it kind of works both ways. Attention. Tell me what attention is about.
Attention. So I think in modern society, whatever about people who having children being starved for time, but even couples without children, I don't know that they're getting enough of their partner's attention without having to demand or ask for it specifically. So the smartphone, the technology, the iPads, the distractions that we all have.
We're
so
busy.
distracted. Yeah. So when you come in from work, you're exhausted, tired. You need a bit of time to relax, to unwind, probably by yourself, get a bit of space. But then what happens? So now you're reconnected as a couple from 7 o'clock to 10 o'clock before you go to bed, for example. For those 3 hours, do you have your partner's undivided attention? Are they distracted? Are they interested in their WhatsApp groups? What's happening in your partner's life? Or do you feel that they're connected?
shortchanged if you don't get...
Exactly.
Right. Okay.
Exactly.
The last one is appreciation. What is that?
Appreciation then is the feeling of of being recognized for the work that you do in a relationship, the attempts you make to keep the relationship going, and the fact that you put so much effort into, maybe if it's your appearance, if it's looking after your partner's family, or the kids, whatever it is, but it's a recognition of the work that you're doing in this relationship to make it a successful relationship. And if that's lacking, people often find themselves being very resentful. And that resentment then has a huge block.
So if you don't feel appreciated.
Yes, it has a huge block, and it serves as a massive obstacle to romance and to lust and to all the positive feelings that you should have in a relationship.
So if you're underappreciated, or you feel you're underappreciated, you will start to resent your partner, and that will cause issues.
You may do. So the obvious solution to that is to communicate. Tell your partner that you're feeling unappreciated, and maybe you are appreciated, but they're not communicating it or not expressing the appreciation in the right way for you, because people have different ways of expressing appreciation. Somebody might, clean the entire house, might pick up the kids from school for the week, whatever, as a way of showing appreciation to their partner. But that particular individual who wants the appreciation might want flowers or chocolates or a driving experience in Mandela Park or whatever, as a way of feeling appreciated. So everyone's language and understanding of what appreciation looks like is very, very different.
Okay. And if those are the four things, and I can kind of see where you're going, affection, that's that kind of the cuddling and all that kind of stuff, attraction, obviously that's the sexual end, attention is what goes without saying. And can a relationship exist in a good way if you're missing one of those things? Can you still work on the other three, or so on and so forth?
Absolutely. And let's face it, every relationship is going to be lacking in something at some point. The point is, do you have the wherewithal and the stamina to work through it and to communicate exactly what you're looking for?
There you go. Listen, thank you for that indeed. That is David Kavanagh, who gives us great advice on a Tuesday about relationships.